All right. The YouTube is now getting set up and we should be ready to go. All right, Alan's good. Kay, good to go. All right. I think Matt's going to be a little bit late on the queue, but that's fine. Okay. All right. Already in 5, 4, 3, 2. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome once again to another episode of the All Pro JAFFOs, where we bring you the highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. I am your host, JP. Alongside me, as always, the 6'10 beast from the Southeast, Mr. Country K. And he's muted. And that's how it goes normally for him. But today we have a very special guest. You can't see him right now, but he's here on mobile. He is the founding creator of NFL coverage at 24/7 Sports. He is now with CBS Sportsline. He's also one of the hosts of the A to Z Sports Picks in Nashville, the home of the Tennessee Titans. He's been doing radio networks from coast to coast. And glad to have him on the show to talk a little bit about his story and a little bit about the matchups coming this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, once again from CBS Sportsline, please welcome to the show, Mr. Alan Bell. How you doing, Alan?
I'm fantastic. Let me say this: a nickname, the 6'10 Beast from the Southeast, dude. That's awesome, man. I love that, dude. I love it.
Yeah, he's our residential Florida guy from Lakeland High School, where all the Pouncey twins and all them came from. So
I love
it. He's having some issues right now with his Wi-Fi, and our other guys also having issues. But again, welcome to the show, man. Again, honor to have you on here. Been looking at a few things from what's been going on in your neck of the woods in Nashville, out there in Tennessee. Titans, just lost to the Jets. I know Julio and AJ Brown are out, but from your perspective, what happened there? What happened?
Yeah, man. Well, I think first off, look, it's certainly one thing, like, the Titans lose that game. I give credit to the Jets, man. Like, they came up, they showed up, and they won the game, right? Like, their defense was on fire. Zach Wilson looked great. Corey Davis looked great. I thought I'd give them credit, man. And, yeah, the Titans are banged up for sure. No A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones. The offensive line is basically a sieve. It's Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry out there, right? Like, it's just those two. But you know what I mean? But no disrespect to the Jets, man. Like, they showed up, they handled their business, and they won the game. So, the Titans, they've got some issues, that they need to work out. First, what we just talked about in terms of their health, they got to get healthy. But two, man, they've got a brand new offensive coordinator, Todd Downing. Their former two offensive coordinators, Matt LaFleur is now the head coach of the Packers, for a few years now, and then Arthur Smith's the head coach of the Falcons, right? So they're working in a new OC, they're working in a new DC. They've had a lot of changes, man. So yeah, once they get healthy, they'll look better. But yeah, it's a lot of difference between the last 2 years.
Yeah, the injury report that just came out, I saw not too long ago, 21 players on the injury report going into this week, and that's really tough to win in the NFL, regardless of who you're playing, when you're missing that many players. So to even make it close to get to overtime, they got to overtime, right?
Yep. It's been 4 weeks, and they've had to replace, not only all of that, they've also had to replace their kicker and their punter. So, it's like, dude, when it rains, it pours, man. I know.
No, as being a Niner fan, dealing with all the injuries and everything last year, I can only compare it to that. Going, that I can see why when it rains, it pours. Just more guys going down every single week.
That was the worst I'd ever seen last year, what the 49ers had to go through. And they're going through a little bit of it again this year. But last year, man,
Yeah,
that was one of the worst just injury riddled seasons to a Super Bowl caliber team I've ever seen.
yeah. As a fan watching it, it's definitely going. Having to deal with the co-host. One's a Dallas Cowboy fan, and one is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. So I can explain injuries all to them all I want. Doesn't really matter to them. The smack talk comes from every angle, no matter what. So, um, but to get into this, like I said before, we like to talk to our guests and learn a little bit about them for the listeners and stuff like that. Everyone we want to listen to, we want them to know how people got to where they are. We've had plenty of guests on here, from coaches to players, and they have that certain point of view that we can relate to a little bit, playing in JUCO ball and everything else like that. But we don't really get to hear a lot from the analytical side, from the sports betting side, from all that type of side of the universe. People get really focused on one ideal, but then don't really see being a guy who's in analytics. I'm sure you hear it all the time. Analytics has a certain place in sports, and when it comes to certain scenarios during momentum shifts or whatever it may be, as an analytics guy, are you one of those that kind of feels that same way, like you should be on analytics pretty much all the time, or is there like a time and place for it, like
I think it's
play
time and place.
calls and everything else like that?
Yeah. I think time and place, man. Like, I probably come from the same background that you guys do, play ball. Obviously, there was a ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, that 99.9% of us all go through, but we love sports, right? And
Right.
I think that anybody in any field in sports, you kind of have to have all of it, right? Like,
Mhm.
you need to understand numbers, analytics, trends, but it's not everything, man. Like sometimes it's gut, right? Like sometimes the situation needs a gut feeling depending on whatever sport you're in, right? Sometimes it
Right.
needs a little emotion, right? Sometimes you need to be dumb. You know what I mean? And just say, look, we're just going to go for it. Like, we're just going to be aggressive and we're going to go for it. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But we need to be aggressive right now. And then other times you need to be like super, analytical, intelligent about things, right? So I think that the more times than not, the people that succeed in any industry related to sports are the ones who can kind of dip into those bags, understand it, and if you have kind of a gut feel for the game, like I think that's the biggest and most important thing. Like whatever sport you're watching, we'll just use football, let's use the NFL. Like if you just have a good feeling of how football games generally go, how game scripts generally go, right? Like if you start from there, you're gonna be in an okay spot. Now understand there's a reason why they play the game, and it doesn't always go the way that you think. It rarely does. But
Right.
it kind of does, though, right? Like you kind of have an idea of how teams go about winning a game. And, there's a chess match in between it. So I think that understanding just that on just a good, even keeled level, that's going to get you where you need to go. And then you just pick up little things along the way.
Awesome. Because, yeah, we just needed to hear that side, because we always hear, especially after either a head coach makes a huge decision, whether it's a momentum shift or whatever it may be, makes a huge decision based on analytics instead of gut. Everyone's always, oh, you can't go through analytics at this point. You can't go through, you have to be able to go through your gut. So actually hear somebody who's in that field, you pretty much have the same viewpoint. Yeah, the analytics are there, but you do need to be able to sense when things need to be done, when, it's right time to pull the trigger on whatever play it is that you're going to do. So definitely, and especially from a player standpoint, we, hear from it going, you got to go with your gut. You got to go with the momentum. If the crowd is into it, everything's got to be put into the decision that you're going to make, not just, 60% of the time they do this. Yeah, well, there's also that 40% of the time that they don't, so
100%.
you got to be able to balance out and get the right play call, whatever it is, out on the field. So that's good to hear that at least people in the analytics side of the field, kind of have that same, outlook towards it. But when you get into analytics, what made you want to get into this? What makes one get into the sports betting? You did again, you were one of the founding creators of the NFL coverage for 24/7 Sports, and then joined CBS Sportsline in 2019. What made you want to get into this field? What was something that or did you have anybody that inspired you, or what was your road to this point?
For sure. Yeah. Again, I always loved sports. I knew that's what I wanted to do, in whatever capacity, that I could start in and work myself towards, and be thankful to be a part of a company. Right. So I think that's all of us. But I'll say this, man, like I've wagered on sports for a while. It's just now become legal. So let me say that I've done it well before that it was legal. But, I always enjoyed it, man. And like, I think that I have always been pretty good with numbers. I understand them. I understand the application of them. I understand, which, I'm not saying like, I'm just saying, like, I think we all do of, where you can find value. Okay. And understanding teams and saying, okay, well, look, I see a point spread right here, but I also understand this game and I get where these two teams are coming from. Okay. Like, you can kind of pick out these bounce back games or, teams that, really, can run the ball and team B can't stop, the rush at all. Like, these things, right?
Right.
So I think that it's a nice, like, perfect medium to be in it. Plus it's fun, man. Like, it's exciting. You know what I mean? Like, every single day is something brand new. It's kind of the same, but it's different, right? So it's like the game doesn't change. It's just the numbers change, right? So
it makes it more exciting, I would assume, getting into it puts you more focused into the game when you got something on it.
Oh, dear God, yes. And I absolutely love that. And like, don't be wrong, sometimes I hate it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, sometimes you'll have good weekends, you'll have bad weeks. I'm coming off a terrible weekend. I had an awful one. But you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. Like, we're not looking at this in, a 1 day, 3 day, 7 day window. Like, this is a process, So
right.
It's a ton of fun, man. And you get to look at games from a different angle. And also, you're looking at an industry that in sports, it's kind of the last one that hasn't been conquered. And let me explain what I mean by that. All right. So the absolute most successful people in the history of sports betting are 57 to 59%. That's how hard it is, right? Like, no one has conquered this on both sides. Now, don't be wrong, sports books, there's a reason why they build cathedrals in a desert, right? They win, but it's not like they win 100% of the time either. You know what I mean? So right. I really like that aspect that, there's something left to be chased. Now, don't be wrong. I've worked in the, sports media, love sports media. Wasn't exactly for me. Like, I'm not that kind of, super intelligent, like journalist guy. Like, that's not me. I can operate myself in that arena, but there are people who are much better, much more talented writers, all that than I am. But what I do love is the game, right? So it's like, okay, now, there aren't, in terms of sports bettors, like, there's not already an established ESPN, New York Times, LA Times, right? Like, you've got all that in the media.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that in sports betting. Like, it's still the Wild West. Now, you have a lot of people doing it, but it's still the Wild West. Like, nobody has figured this thing out and conquered it, successfully, consistently. And the ones that have don't tell you, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like there's something exciting about that, man, that you wake up every single day and you're facing something in front of you that hasn't been conquered. And you know what? Maybe you're the one. Maybe you are the one that will figure it out. Yes.
And I mean, again, like you said, 59%. I mean, even hitting 60% is still not. I mean, there are better odds, obviously, than 50-50, but even at 59%, top guys getting at that point, and they're still not pulling up numbers that people would expect. People go around all over, but like you said, it is wild, wild west when it comes to sports betting. There are a whole lot of shows and a whole lot of people that are there that talk about it, but then it always comes down to, some are right, some are wrong. It is literally a game of chance. So when you're making your calls, when you're making your picks, how much of it is, again, as somebody who loves the game, how much of it is analytics based and how much of it is gut feeling, what you see on game film is making your decision in this?
Well, it all starts with game film and gut feeling. All right. So I'll give you a number. This year, the NFL teams that win the game outright are covering at a 78% click. Understand what I'm saying there? That means that any underdog that wins, you're automatically including them in that percentage. But not like every underdog wins, right? They had 7 favorites win last week? Right? 8? So it's like, okay. So I say all that to say this. Just absolutely start by, just writing down your game script, how you think it's going to go. I'll give you a perfect example. Thursday Night Football. All right, we got Rams at Seahawks, okay? Well, Rams are coming off a loss, got dubbed by the Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals are one of the best teams in the NFL. They're going to do that to a lot of teams. All right, the Seahawks got a win, much-needed win. They didn't want to lose 3 in a row. But are the Seahawks really that good? Their defense can't really stop anybody. So long story short, what I'm saying is you just kind of list a game script out. Like, what do I think is going to happen in this game? I think the Rams are a better offense. I think the Rams are a better defense, right? And you get them in a motivational factor where they don't want to lose 2 division games in a row. They're on the road on a short week, which I actually think helps, after coming off of a loss like that. So I think of that first, okay? Then I start looking at the numbers. And I say, okay, well, the Rams are a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Well, you look at your prime key indicator numbers. NFL football games are scored in 3-point increments, 7-point increments, right? And you kind of go from there. So if I'm getting a favorite and I'm getting that favorite under 3, right, I feel a whole lot better with 2.5 than I do at 3 or 3.5. Okay, all right. So now the numbers are working in my favor, right? So you just kind of go through all of these, kind of little check boxes, but it absolutely starts with just how do you think the game's going to go, man? Like, and I'm really, really big on writing things down, whether it's a piece of paper, whether it's a whiteboard, whether it's typing on a computer in the notes. It doesn't matter, right? Just write it down because it helps your brain think of like, okay, like how you think the Rams are going to win. How do they go about winning? Project the score. Like, what do you think the score is going to be? Right. And you just do little dumb things like that, but it helps, man, because it gives you a plan of like, okay, this is how the Rams would go about winning. Okay, where are my danger points, right? Like Russell Wilson, like that dude's an X factor, man. Like you don't know what you're going to get. Like dude can light you up at any point, right? They don't really have an offensive line. They don't have a defense. They don't really have a run game. They don't really even have that great of wide receivers. I mean, they do. I know Lockett's hurt. DK Metcalf's a stud. But if you got Jalen Ramsey, going one-on-one with DK, right, and you take and shade him out of the game, what do they really have, man? Right? So it's just kind of like that, man. It sounds way more complicated than it is. Just start with playing the game out and then look for your numbers. So, yeah, I hope that kind of made sense.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It just because, I mean, again, there are people who go into whether it is they're going to be making a parlay or bets or whatever it is that they're going to be doing, that overthinking. That the numbers say this, so I need to go that, or I feel that there's a whole lot that goes into it that people just kind of freak out about, and then if they don't get the results that they're looking for, it's a downward spiral, just like a snowball, all the way down a hill that just gets bigger and bigger as it goes. So to actually just hear somebody just kind of go with your gut feeling and just watch the game and talk amongst yourself about how it is that it's going to go down. It just makes it a little bit easier to kind of just sit back and feel a little bit more comfortable with the decisions you're making. Whether you're winning or losing, at least it's, you're more comfortable in the decision that you're making.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm telling you, and look, it sounds dumb, but another thing that I love about it is that, after, a day of work, right? Let's just say, tomorrow. I don't know, whatever, or we'll say yesterday. Okay. I get done working, and it's like, all right, man, like I'm gonna go to the bar with my two buddies that who watch NFL like I do, and let's just have some beers, man, take a shot, and like let's talk about these games because somebody might be seeing something that I'm not, right? And it's like, okay, well, if I've got buddies who like I trust their mind, like we're not gonna step out here and start coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're not Mike Tomlin and them, but we understand the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we get it. So it's like, dude, like let's just talk about it, man. Like throw me a chaos scenario. Right? Like, okay, so I'll give you a perfect example. Like, so Monday night, Raiders Chargers. Okay. Well, the Chargers run defense is one of the worst in the NFL. But one of the chaos theories that we had were like, okay, look, the Raiders can run the ball and they're going to use the run to set up the long pass. Well, guess what happened, man? The Chargers run defense showed up and the Raiders were stuck because they couldn't open up the pass with the run. So they, it was a chaos theory. It literally stuck them and they were down 21-0 at halftime. Right. So it's like just little things like that, man, like just play out scenarios. It doesn't have to be some super like, official professional type thing. Like just talk about it. And if you start from there and you kind of play these, these angles, these scenarios in your head and you get good numbers, trust me, man, the numbers absolutely are incredibly important. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Like with analytics and anything else, like it's not all one thing. It's, does this check? Yes. Does this check? Yes. Does this check? Yes. Right. So once you start going down that list at a game and you're like, okay, all of this is kind of aligning like the Cowboys against the Panthers last week. It's like, dude, I'm firing on this game. And there you go. Cowboys win by 20. So.
Awesome. Awesome to hear. So now there's one question before we get into, I want to ask like the top three matchups and then get one story that I heard popped up, but I want to ask you about it. But first things that's been on my mind. I know you talked about it on A to Z and a little bit about Urban Meyer and what's going on there in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the more odd things that I feel like in hearing the stories about the players laughing at him when he's making the apology, and it just, how do you, one, if you're Urban Meyer, how do you gain the respect of your players back after, or even as a player, was the laughing because you're not taking him seriously, or is it kind of like, why are you apologizing for this? Or like, what is going, like, how does this, how do you put out the fire that is Jacksonville right now? And you being in Tennessee, you guys are going up against Jacksonville this Sunday. I mean, that's a dumpster fire and a half out there in Duval. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. What is the over-under of Urban Meyer getting fired before the year is even over with? It's pretty wild out there.
It's wild. All right. So, first off, and there's a lot of things going on, but like, let me say this. And I think we've all had a moment like this in our lives. I think Urban Meyer wanted to be in football. He loves football. And he took a chance on a job and it sounded great. And he got into the job and realized, I don't think this is for me. And because, dude, like being an NFL head coach, dude, like that is some hours, man. Like you have to be dedicated, dude, dedicated. And I just don't know if his heart's in it, man. Like I see him, he's got poor body language on the sidelines. He just doesn't look happy. Like it looks completely different than every other head coach in the NFL. He talks different than every other head coach. And it's not because he came from college. Matt Rule is at Carolina, and my man feels like college, right? Like he's fired up. He's excited. He loves what he does. He loves the grind of building it. I do not see that out of Urban Meyer. So, I don't know what happens, but I don't see any way possible that he's the head coach of this team next year. And it might be them just realizing, saying, you know what, like not some big firing or not anything embarrassing. Like just, you know what, man, like this isn't it. Let's just part ways amicably, move on. Like I just don't see any way that he's the head coach. And I think the players, what you kind of see the reaction, there's no hatred towards him. There's no emotion really at all, because I don't think he has any emotion in this. Does that make sense? Like it feels like, if you have like an absent parent at the house and you and your brothers. You know what I mean? And it's like they don't come around, they don't say much, but then they come around and like they try to lay down the law, and you just laugh. You're like, who are you, man? Like we've been running this ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like it has that feel to it. And let me say this.
Yeah,
it does. And no, you're good. And let me say, man, like him not flying back with the team after a loss when they're 0-4, it doesn't sound like a big deal. But man, that's a huge deal. Huge deal.
Yeah.
Like NFL coaches don't do that, right? To go to a bar, like you don't do that. Like we just saw a report today where Justin Fields' parents came into town to want to take him out to dinner to celebrate him being, called the starter. And he said no, because he had to prepare and watch tape. Like, dude, like I'm not saying that's the right call by Fields. Like you could go get some dinner, but like, dude,
but this is a rookie quarterback compared to an NFL head coach.
Yeah.
Not
and
especially hours.
100%, dude. And it's one thing, dude, look, if you're, the Cardinals, or the Rams before that game, like, and you're undefeated and you've been the head coach there for a minute and people know, like, you are the guy and your system's working, everybody believes in you, and you get out of a game, win or lose, you're like, you know what? Hey, everybody, clear your heads. Look, if you want to stay here and chill, get your flights back, like, we got off days. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing when you have established presence there. Like, Bill Belichick could do that. And do whatever you want, dude. Like, they're probably going to name the Lombardi after you. Like, you've earned that. Urban hasn't earned any of this. So now you got a team flying back without their head coach, to which they already had questions anyway if this guy's all in. Clearly, it doesn't look like it. So, yeah, man, long story short, like, I just don't buy into this at all. And I'll give you a stat here real quick before you get to what you were going to say. And I mean to talk long-winded on it.
No.
Dude, Derrick Henry's from Jacksonville, that area. Dude, in his short NFL career alone, no team in the NFL has taken the brunt of Derrick Henry like the Jaguars. Against them alone in his short NFL career, he's already rushed for over 1,000 yards against just them with double-digit touchdowns. So people like, and I'm saying this, like everybody's jumping off the Titans bandwagon because they just lost to the Jets. My man, I'm jumping all over that bandwagon at -4 this week because I've seen Derrick Henry do this over and over and over. And that's when they've had good teams. Like 2-3 years ago when they were going to the AFC Championship, he was doing this. This team ain't no good, man. Like, so just saying that. I think we'll learn a lot.
Oh yeah. When you got a team that's going through what they're going through, and then you got a guy like Derrick Henry who, basically it's a homecoming game for him every time he goes into Jacksonville, and he just wants to show out in front of the family, and he does that. Like this. I mean, over 1,000 yards against one team, and he's only been in the league not even 8 years. I don't even think. I think it was 5-6 years he's only been in the league. Yeah,
and he didn't even run. And even play the first one. He was behind DeMarco Murray, right? So it's like he's been putting up these numbers, and couple it with this, what we were just talking about. Like the number looks good at 4, but take that number, the analytics side, and also take it with the gut. The Titans are coming off getting dubbed by the worst team in the league, other than the Jaguars. So there's a super motivation factor right there. And you want to talk about head coaches. My man, Mike Vrabel is everything that you think that he is. Like, back against the wall, he'll swing at anybody, right? And if you look at his record since 2020, he's perfect against the spread after a loss. Perfect. Like, my man comes back firing. So just putting that out there for anybody listening. Yeah.
It's hard to go against Tennessee for sure, especially, and it real quick with the Urban Meyer. I think I saw it somewhere. One of the reporters asked him, what's the game plan or what's the strategy or whatever going into this. And this may have been a misquote or something else that I saw, but if I read this correctly, and I'm paraphrasing here when I say this, he said, "It's not my job. It's up to the players to come up with that strategy."
So, and here's the thing. He's right in a sense that the players play the game. It's horrible coming from him. Like Bill Belichick could say that because he has an established presence. Mike Tomlin could say that, right? Sean McVay could say that. Kyle Shanahan can say that. They've been there. Their system works. Players trust in them. So if they mess up and they apologize to the team, let's just use Kyle Shanahan, which, he's a good dude. He wouldn't do anything like this. But, like, He's apologized to the team afterward. Him saying, "Look, I did everything that I could, and I'm going to support my guys, and it's on the players to pick me up." Well, there's a team that loves him, and they're like, "We got him. We got like coach messed up. We all messed up." You know what I mean? You don't hear that out of any Jacksonville players. Like nobody's coming to my man's defense. And I'll ask this: go to Ohio State. Go to his former players there. Go to his former players at Florida. How many of them do you hear talk positively about Urban Meyer? They only went to the team. You don't hear anybody else talk positively about the guy. They don't talk negatively. They just don't talk about it. Right? Like you hear all kinds of players are like, "Dude, I love playing for Tomlin. I love playing for whoever." You don't really hear much out of players for Urban.
It's just one of the. I really do think he's going to be a one and done coach, if not earlier than the end of the season, because I think this whole little experience, and on top of that, it's no good for Trevor Lawrence. That's really number one who in that organization that this affects the most. Trevor Lawrence is absolutely getting the shit end of the stick when it comes to what's happening there in Jacksonville, and that leads me to think, if stuff like this keeps happening, there's no way in hell he re-signs with the team at the end of his rookie deal. He goes somewhere else unless they can, figure out something to get him out there in Jacksonville. But again, it's going to be one of those situations where he's might unfortunately have all this potential and hype around him, only to be kind of held back a little bit by the organization's decisions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, if Urban's not the coach next year, you've basically just thrown away next year for him as well, because it's going to be another rookie season, learning a brand new system and a new head coach and blah, 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 and all of that, right? So now you've thrown away 2 of the 4 years. Like, I'm with you. Like, that you're right. Like, that's who it hurts the most, and it hurts everybody else. And who's going to want to go there in free agency? Like, they're going to have to way overpay for guys, right? Like, I mean, it's one thing to, hey, I'm going to sign with Jacksonville. It's another thing. Dude, man, Shanahan, the 49ers offered me, like, I'm going to take a little bit less money, but I want to go to a winner. You know what I mean? So, dude, it's just not good. And he's basically the de facto GM, too. I know Trent Baalke's there, but, buddy, Urban's the one making these decisions, too.
Being a 49er fan, the fact that Trent Baalke is there in Jacksonville further tells me I kind of understand the reason why things are going the way they're going out there in Jacksonville.
100%.
Yeah, but at the same time, you really shouldn't feel bad for Trevor. How you doing, Alan? Country K out. My Zoom messed up right as he was introducing me. Yeah, I've been here for a while. I was just listening to the whole thing, but I had to comment on this. Being from Florida, growing up a Buccaneer, I'm from Lakeland, from Central Florida. So I kind of saw the whole Jacksonville bull crap when they did to Fred Taylor, what they did to a bunch of different players, you know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like no one should feel bad for Trevor. It's basically how he did the New York Jets. How he kind of threatened, hey, if the Jets draft me, I'm going to stay in college. You know what I mean? Like that whole scenario. Yep. And then now you're in a bad situation in Jacksonville, bro. You made your own bed, bro. You kind of got to lay in this mess. You know what I mean?
True.
Oh, hey, let me say, you are 100% correct, and I didn't even think about that. You were spot on. On with that. That's a great point.
Now, I was like, oh crap, he did say he might want to stay another year because of the Jets.
That's a great point. And I'll give you a side note really quick, man, really quick. You brought up Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor is one of the most underappreciated football players in the history of the league. And a buddy of mine here in Nashville, Blaine Bishop, dude that played for the Titans, me and him have sit there and talk constantly about how good Fred Taylor was. Fred Taylor does not get enough credit for how good of a running back he was, dude. At all, man. Like because he's quiet. He went about his business and didn't say nothing. Like that dude was so good for so long. It's like Mr. Consistency. So I had to give one ups to Fred anytime his name comes up. He's legit.
Most definitely.
So let's get into these three picks real quick. We got a week 5 that's looking pretty interesting across the boards. We got a couple of divisional matchups that are pretty, interesting. But the 3 matchups the most out of this week to you that look the most enticing, like if you were going to actually go and put some money on it, what's a lock, and then 2 of your best matchups that you can think of?
Yeah. So we talked about it earlier. My lock of the week is the Rams tomorrow night. I think that they handle their business on both sides of the ball, and especially if you give me a number 2.5 that's under 3, dude, I'm all in on that. Now, 2 games that I'm really feeling this week. All right. First one is going to be Carolina at home against the Eagles. Now, I'm not super negative on the Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts, man. Tough kid. And Philly can run the ball too. The problem is that Carolina's defense is really good. And, Chris McCaffrey practiced today. I'm not even concerned because even if he plays, he's not 100%, right? So I'm not even factoring all that much in. But I think Carolina in a bounce-back week at home is dangerous against this Philly team. And then the third one, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, man. And I've had a couple of my dudes at work, call me out and say I'm stupid, but I don't think that I am. Sunday Night Football, man. You're giving me the Buffalo Bills against that Chiefs defense that isn't that good, and you're going to give me plus 2.5? I understand that it's the Chiefs, and I understand it's going to be crazy at Arrowhead. Let me say something, man. 6 of the last 7 games that the Bills have played in regular season, they've won by 22 or more points. Their defense has pitched 2 shutouts already this year. They won 35-0. They won 40-0. And you want to talk about a motivational factor. I know that the Chiefs are going to be fired up. My man, the Bills season ended in KC last year. They know that that's the team. That's the one team that they have to go through to get to the Super Bowl. That's the one team. So I know that KC is going to be fired up, but dude, Buffalo's going to be fired up too. And this team has, we talk about the Chiefs offense, the problem with theirs, they just get kind of complacent in the middle of games because they're so good and they can score so fast. Buffalo doesn't do that. Buffalo will stab you in the chest and keep going. They just put up points. They don't care, man. And I'm telling you.
Killer instincts.
That's all that they know. That's all that they know. And it comes from their OC, Brian Dable. That's what he preaches to him. He's like, dude, you cannot let up in this league. He's like, if you have to kill him, kill him. He's like, we will not let up. So the Chiefs offense is obviously legendary. Their defense is not good. Philly did whatever they wanted. That game was much closer. So long story short, man, you giving me Buffalo points with the better offense, the way better defense, and they have a reason to want to go in there and stomp on their throat. Dude, give me Buffalo all day long.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Just thinking about it that way, it's going, oh, man, this might be a very, very interesting week. So before we let you go, we always try to get, stories and stuff like that of our good stories. But then I saw something on here that I wanted to know more about because it was only just a little tidbit. You were on the wrong end of a Maurice Jones-Drew touchdown. What?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I saw. I think it was on Reddit or something like that. You had posted something on Reddit, and you said that you were on the wrong end of an MJD touchdown, and that intrigued me because what would happen for somebody to base? Did he take a shot at you? Did you during the celebration?
No.
Did he point you out, or what happened there?
Sorry. So a little backstory. Before I went to 24/7 Sports, I was doing anything I could to get into sports, right? So I ended up knowing the dude that was the mascot here for the Titans. And I was like, look, man, I said, you need a little game day, handler, somebody to hand you signs or whatever. I was like, I got you, man. He was like, well, we don't have a lot of money to pay because, the business side of the NFL teams, they don't pay for that. I was like, you ain't got to pay me nothing. I'll do it for free, just to be out there, right? So anyway, I'd done that for a couple of years, man. It was on game day, you'd be on the field. Well, before, players are, warming up, all that kind of stuff. And I was setting up little things over there, on the little, the fork, corners, of a field, right? Towards, right where the stands start. And the Titans were playing the Jags. And MJD was down there, and he was stretching. And I was putting some, sign up. And it wasn't bothering anybody, you know what I mean? And he walked up, cool. I have nothing but absolute love for MJD. He's the best. And he walked up and he was making fun of the sign, in a funny way, And I laughed. I said, man, you better get back out there and keep stretching, MJD. I said, I know you're a legend. I said, but it's going to be a tough day for you. And he laughed, because he knew I was kidding too. And he laughed. He goes, man, he goes, I'll score on the first drive. I said, bet. I said, I'll be standing right here. Dog. The Titans get the kickoff, fumble it. The opening kickoff, they fumble it on the 5. MJD takes the second play, bam, runs it in the end zone. I'm standing right there. And my man came up threw up the hove basically. The whole O-line came over, Chad Henne came over, everybody, and you'll see my face, and I was like trying not to like laugh and smile, and MJD was laughing like in a totally cool, like fun way. It was one of the most funny things I've ever seen in my life. And I just looked at him and I go, "Yep, you called it." And he started laughing and ran off. It was awesome, man. Like much respect to MJD. He is an awesome dude.
That's unbelievable.
I wonder that. I wonder if he remembers that.
I know, dude. You got to ask him. Like, and I'll show the picture. Like, it was unbelievable that, like, as soon as the kickoff came, the Titans just drop it, and I was like, "Oh no, because you know at the 5, dog, like they're not passing. Like it is handoff central, right?" And I was like, "Oh no." It was fantastic, man.
I would be like, "All right, yeah, no, you got me on that."
Oh, dude, it was phenomenal, man. It really was.
Unbelievable. Well, Alan, again, thank you so much for your time. We hope to have you again, anytime. Open invitation for you. Want to come in and talk football. We're all about it. Want to come over here and, shoot the shit and do what you want to do and stuff like that. We're always open. Let us know if you ever want to come back because we'd love to have you for as many times as possible. That'd be great to have you on more. Great talking to you.
You guys too, man. And I appreciate it. I promise. I'll have my computer with me next time. We'll do my video as well. So my bad on that, but
no
appreciate appreciate y'all having me on, man. You guys are fantastic. Yeah, let's absolutely do this good soon.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, from CBS Sports Line, Mr. Alan Bell. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, boys.
See,
so dope. That was so dope, man.
So good.
So dope.
Honestly,
I know if the people are listening, they didn't see me, but you saw me. I was like cheering everything Ellen was saying because I know I've said a similar take to that to you about certain teams. You know what I mean? Especially when I got back, and it's just like, oh my gosh, bro. I was just
good.
Like,
good talking to him for sure. Yeah, especially again that just hearing about it, just like that, because again, you hear people that do sports betting and stuff like that all the time. They live and die by those numbers, by making their bets and everything like that. So basically, to hear him come out and somebody who is they wouldn't give you a show on CBS if you weren't good at what you do. Okay, so they wouldn't do that. So obviously, the way he does things, with his gut, the way he looks at it, the way he, actually looks at the game more so than just the numbers. It's pretty cool to see that. But it was pretty good. Awesome to talk to him. I'm glad he took up the invitation to come on the show. Hopefully we can get him on again, maybe sometime mid-season or something like that. We can talk more football about what's going on, especially from now going into later on in the season, the way things change up and switch. But his takes on Tennessee and then on Jacksonville and Urban Meyer. And so it's, obviously he has a past with Jacksonville, being a Tennessee Titans guy in the same division and everything else like that. A great story with MJD. That's one of those stories you obviously hold on to, for your entire life, because how often does shit like that happen? So it's really cool to have him on. That was pretty awesome. Especially again, I told him before, we've talked to coaches, we've talked to players, but we've never really talked to anybody on the analytics side, like the sports betting side. So to get that point of view and everything was really awesome. Appreciate the hell out of Alan for joining us, and I hope we can get him on again really, really soon. That, before we go on, guys, obviously that was brought to you by Raise Energy, and man, the legendary flavor already of juice box that just came out again. I think I talked about it a little bit last week. It's sold out within an hour. I'm looking at it, trying to see if it's there to be able to restock and everything. They have so much stuff on back order, it's ridiculous. They just introduced a new flavor that's going to be coming out just in time for your Halloween needs in October called Franken Sour. So when that comes in, you're going to want to jump on it quick because the juice box ran out. I'm sure the Halloween heads are going to be out there getting that raised energies too, getting that Franken Sour. So get there. Go to repsports.com, REPP sports.com. You can find it on the Twitter bio or the Instagram bio, PVP_sports, and then the Twitter bio of the JAFFO's AP. Repsports.com. Use that promo code ALPHA-RAISE to get 15% off of your order. Join the Raise Rebellion. Demand more. Get yourself that Raise energy and get your day going.
Hey,
Again,
side note before you go to the next topic.
go ahead.
About Raise. Hey, Raise, if you guys are religious or if you're trying to release the religious demographic, you should take that Franken Sour and flip it for Christmas and go Franken Sweet, like a Frankenstein type shit.
We got to do better on marketing, okay?
Hey, look, this is sober me. I was more than joking, see if it worked.
Or,
it didn't.
Real quick, I've actually been asked this question. When we're on the show, we usually, we're smoking, drinking, whatever. We're having a good time talking shit, right? Well, I keep getting asked, whenever we talk to people, why we're never smoking or drinking or whatever when we're talking to people.
Respecting their agency.
Exactly. It's like, I want to be able to, one, be completely coherent and listen to who it is we're talking to, listen to what they're saying. Because the information that they're giving us is, knowledge I don't have that I would like to soak up. So, go through a little bit of the soberness. You get through it, we'll go right back to it and we can talk and have a good time. So that's mainly the reason why we're mostly sober through interview. And it really depends on who we're talking to too, as well.
Yeah. No, I mean,
well.
Because
I'm pretty sure we were smoking when Chris was on here, right?
Well, I mean, I was, because I know him personally, like, so he know I ain't gonna fuck up his money. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna say nothing to fuck his bread up. He know that. So
yeah,
I mean, I feel like I was good in that department. I wouldn't been able to show my face in my home city if I would have put in some shit like that. So I know I had to stay on my P's and Q's. That was like interviewing the mayor of your hometown. It's like, you fuck this up, Jack. Wherever you live now is now your new birthplace.
You will stay there.
It's your new
your
birth
certificate and all.
Like, he just automatically changes in the computer, like. But no, but yeah, you just more than respecting people's agency and based on their, their position and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the answer. From my part of it. If I know you probably answered it when the person was standing right in front of you, but as far as the show, that's my angle of it.
Yeah, again, it really is who we're talking to. The comfort. We want all of our guests to be comfortable with us.
Yeah.
Whatever that may be. And if that means we got to be a little bit sober for somebody to be comfortable to have a good conversation or whatever with us, and that's something that we'll do. That's fine. We don't have, it's not going to be like, if you're not going to let us smoke or whatever, we don't want you. The hell no. It's like, no, we want you to be comfortable. We want everybody to be, okay and cool with, being here on the show. It's all about comfort here. All about comfort.
Man, that's all we care about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, but again, Alan Bell, thank you for joining us, man. If you're still watching and still listening, I'll send you a little bit of this afterwards. Thank you for joining us, man. It was really awesome to hang out and talk. And then getting into, we'll jump right into it. I mean, he made some pretty good picks, and I think I'm just going to go with him when it goes to those. But we'll get right into our pick'ems going into this Sunday. Actually, should we save the pick'ems for Saturday? I got to work again on Sunday. Yeah. Unless I can change that up. But yeah, they put me again on Sunday, so.
Oh, that sucks, son.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's all good. You might have to start stripping, G. I mean, see if your wife go for it.
She would be my manager, bro. She'd be the one promoting.
Sure. Manager / bodyguard up there with a fucking taser pole, like no touching the client.
No shit, no touching, bitch.
And them same boots she wore at a wedding, like I will fucking kick you.
Those boots were a hit for her. I guess people love those boots.
I mean, it was dope. It was real grunge. It was dope.
Oh,
it was dope.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Should we save this for Saturday? I think we should save it for Saturday.
I mean, we still got to pick tomorrow's game for sure.
Well, we can, yeah, that one for.
Or at least talk about it. You know what I mean? Kind of like talk about it right now.
I mean, Alan made some really good points.
Great points.
About that game. And, like you said, it is very hard to not pick LA in this situation, even though it's in Seattle.
The only problem I have with what Alan said is the fact that he didn't factor in Russell's ability to make shit happen. That's some shit you can't quantify on paper. I didn't hear it because I feel like I came back in right as he was going over the point spread. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Like, he said, like, even though that Seattle doesn't have a great offensive line, Russell Wilson can still, be deadly really on any given night.
Yeah. And that's
then he brought in the fact of, Ramsey taking on Metcalf and
that's what I heard that part. And that's the part why I also disagree, because Ramsey this season hasn't been guarding the number ones. He's been floating. Ramsey has been floating. If you really watch the games, all 4 of the games that I've had so far, Ramsey has not been guarding the number ones like solely. He's been floating, and then the other guys have been guarding the number ones, like their other DB. Like when we played the Rams, he was floating on us, and he didn't even guard Mike Evans that much. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like guarding like Chris Godwin and fucking.
I think it really depends. If it's a team that has like a true number one guy, he'll stick with him. But if it's a team that has like 1 or like 2, maybe even 3 good receivers, he'll float to be able to cover all 3 of them.
And that's what I'm saying. So as far as someone like Seattle, Tyler Lockett is a exceptional receiver. If you sleep on him, he will fuck around and get 200 yards on you quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy because he doesn't look that fast. He's small, but he has amazing hands and he runs amazing routes. So it's like it's hard to like kind of like assess their team, because at any moment Seattle can be like this amazing show-stopping team.
Yeah.
But their defense will shoot them in the ass. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Russell Wilson really is like that good of a quarterback to where his play is so good that it outshines how bad his defense and offensive line really are.
Yeah.
Like if you actually gave Russell Wilson a good defense and a strong offensive line, holy fuck.
We know what happens when they have that.
Exactly. When the Legion of Boom and the decent offensive line, yeah.
What I'm saying is I love the fact that he's in the same division as Kyler. I love that shit. So Kyler is able to pick his brain and he could be a better version of Russell, the same size essentially. I just love that shit.
Learning from him by playing against him type of thing. I mean, you play a guy like Russell Wilson twice a year. I mean, if I'm the opposing quarterback, like in my 3rd year, oh yeah, on the sideline just watching. Just like, what does he do in this situation? What does he do in that situation? Like,
Oh
how
my
does he?
God.
You take notes on legendary players like that.
All day. I can just imagine when they retire, the conversations the NFL is gonna have posted up on whatever platform, if YouTube's still a thing by then. You know what I mean? If they have their videos up on YouTube, just fucking watching them just sitting back and talk like how Champ Bailey and fucking Tyrann Mathieu talked a couple years ago for the 100-year anniversary, or like how Primetime and Ramsey talked. That'll be so dope just to have the two of them sitting there talking. Like, I think just because they're the same type of player and they're well, right now Kyle is excelling. Russell's already been to the pinnacle twice.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He already won one, you know what I mean? So he's been there.
Yeah.
So I just think I personally think Russell's gonna give us a performance, but I do feel like the Rams are gonna win. And I feel like the 2.5, didn't he say it was like 2.5 or some shit like that with 3 points or some shit? I feel like that's a good enough spread. But I hate Robert Woods. I got him in fantasy. He's been letting me down so badly.
Oh, that's probably why.
That was the auto draft pick. I didn't even want him. Not being disrespectful to you, brother. But I wanted a different receiver. I wanted like D-Hop, bro. I wanted D-Hop. I'm upset.
Or Cooper Kupp, maybe.
No, I wanted D-Hop, bro. D-Hop was still on the board. And my phone was tripping. Well, I was at the store, so it was bad service. So it wouldn't let me get back on the fantasy. So auto draft. Oh my God, I was so mad. but in the league that happened in, undefeated. I'm undefeated. I'm facing my boy. I'm facing my boy, and he's talking cash money, millionaire crap, and he's a Cowboys fan, so he's been talking crap. You know what I mean? He's been sending me Trevon Diggs stats for every week of the season. Every week, bro. I promise you. I can show you my log where he sends me Trevon Diggs stats every week. Because I told him, he's okay. I mean, you still really don't have no secondary. He's like, no, Trevon Diggs, like he's going off. I'm like, yo, he's good.
Diggs is proven to be pretty damn good.
He's good.
Not
He's good.
Not bad at all.
He played the Bucks. week 1.
I wouldn't say elite just yet.
No, he probably made the Pro
But he's
Bowl.
on his way. He's on his way.
He made the Pro Bowl this
year.
year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Pro Bowl for sure.
Pro Bowl this year. And that's only been like 4 games. We are
five picks in 4 weeks. That's impressive.
Healthy, he's making a Pro Bowl. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. He finished all 17. He's making a Pro Bowl for sure.
He might even steal defensive rookie of the year from somebody.
Nah.
He wasn't on anybody's radar until now.
Nah, they what's my boy name? Parsons. He went in that.
So I'm saying he might steal it from Parsons if he continues on this trajectory.
He not.
If he can end the season with 8 picks plus.
Nah. You gotta stop. If Parsons out here eating sacks, if he going Shaq Barrett crazy,
sacks, tackles, all that. Oh, yeah,
that man on line. That man on line, man. Come on now. That what I'm saying is not happening.
I think Diggs can do it this way. If he can end his rookie season with, let's just go in between. Let's say 9 interceptions. So 9 plus interceptions with around 80 to 90 tackles as a DB. 80 to 90 tackles as a DB is pretty fucking good. That means you're pretty much everywhere. And if he can go 80 to 90 tackles, 9 interceptions plus, couple tackles for loss, maybe a sack here and there. Passes defended, all that stuff. I think he can win.
I don't mean no disrespect, buddy. No disrespect. He ain't getting 9 interceptions. I'm looking at the rest of their schedule. So they got the Giants, Pats, Vikes, Broncos, Falcons, Chiefs, Raiders, Saints, Washington, Giants again, Washington again, Cardinals, Eagles. So the teams.
But a good amount of those teams though like to throw.
All right, so here's my problem. They playing they're playing the Giants, right? They're playing the Giants next on the 10th on Sunday. So they're playing the Giants. Danny Dimes will give you picks.
You might get one or two just off him.
That's what I'm saying. But when you go past that game, I don't think Matt gonna give him a pick.
Ryan?
No, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I don't think Matt gonna give him a pick. As far as Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan will give him a pick to skip. That'd probably be his next pick because I don't see the Vikings throwing the ball that much against them. They're gonna try to do well. They actually might try to throw the ball, but I don't think they're gonna probably throw it his side. They're gonna try to be as careful as possible. Unless I don't know, bro. I don't know. He might get a pick that game too. Now that I think about it, because Kirk Cousins again.
That's already 7. That's already 7 we've counted so far. Going down the list.
Where you at right now? Yeah, 5. So 5. Okay, yeah. So maybe 7. Falcons, he might get one. That's 8. Yeah, he might get 9. I'm tripping. Because Jameis gonna get one for sure. So yeah, that's probably where it's at. I don't think he's gonna get too much after that. He might actually. They play the Giants again. Yeah, he might.
At this pace, there's a possibility he might get 10.
No, so here's the thing. I seriously believe somebody that knows somebody in media is watching this show, because I promise you literally laughed at me when I said Saquon for Jimmy. And then the very next week, it just came out in all of America. Like, what? No one, when I say no one has even thought about that shit other than me. No one mind works like that. No one mind will understand how I even came to that conclusion.
Bro,
but I could see the writing on the wall.
You might be right. Somebody might be watching the show.
Look at the people we've had on the show so far.
Well, not just the people that we've had on the show. The things that we've talked about on the show. That really, it's our point of view. It's our weird fucking way of thinking going into it. And then a few days later, it's being talked about by somebody else. Same exact thing that we were just talking about, but it's being talked about by somebody else.
Exact same fucking picks and everything. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Somebody's taking credit for shit that we're doing, and I need to know who the fuck it is.
When I said Saquon in the 6, I was fucking bullshitting. A 6 was disrespectful. I feel like they could still pull that shit off. They probably fuck around and Saquon the 4th and Jimmy and a fucking receiver. Y'all get somebody else serviceable or get a higher pick. You get a high pick, Saquon, and a 6. Give up a fucking receiver. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, Saquon right now audition to get the fuck out of New York. I'm so serious. I feel like Saquon's gonna put on a show against the fucking Cowboys. They're gonna lose, but he gonna put on a show. You know what I mean? I say this now. I'm gonna pick the Cowboys that game, unless I get some further details to when we record later this week, and I might switch my pick. But right now, tentatively, I'm going Cowboys on that game, just because. Yeah, them boys, their defense playing well, but they got rid of one of their captains, the energy. So we'll see how they be hyped this coming game. But
well, before we get out of here, let's make the pick. Is it LA Rams in Seattle on Thursday? I think I'm gonna go with Allen on this and just take, again, everything that he said about this is like pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with the Rams on this. Go with the Rams. What you got? What do you think?
I might as well stick with LA. It's still the third finger from the but still third finger. And that's counting my thumb too, guys. I'm counting my thumb as a finger, my third finger.
I should. That's one thing that I should have asked him. I should have asked him about the fight this weekend on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
Wilder and Fury Part 3 going on 6:00 on Saturday.
So since you brought it up, man, we talked about Wilder's marketing ability of the fight and how the lack his team has been showing on his marketing, trying to get people to believe that he's gonna win. You know what I mean? That video I sent you of Gervonta Davis, Tank, how he was boxing, is that what you mean? Showing you the ability, you know what I mean? Showing you the progress, like showing you that he's training, you know what I mean? Showing you that he's attempting to get better at his craft. Is that what you're looking for?
I'm looking for some sort of improvement in skill. And not just the relying on the right hand.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Will you all right, so say hypothetically he loses, right? In this scenario. I feel like you're going that thinking that way anyway, but just say hypothetically he loses, but he doesn't get knocked out, he loses by decision, and he shows you boxing ability. Do you respect him enough to watch the next fight?
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay. All right, that's all I was saying. That's all I wanted to know.
I'll give you credit where credit is due. If the dude goes out there, if he still loses, but he should, proves to me, at least by my own, because I'm watching the fight. I got Saturday off, working Sunday. At least, during the show on Saturday or whatever, you do like a mini watch-a-thon or watch-along or whatever it is with the fight. But if throughout the whole thing, he looks good, he looks better, the footwork is better, he looks like a more complete boxer, but still, ends up losing by decision or whatever, then he'll still have my respect and everything else like that. But again, if nothing's changed and he goes and gets his fucking lights clean, then I mean, same old story. Nothing's changed. It's the same outcome, the same same thing that we talked about the last time these guys fought. It's just going to repeat cycle. So I hope for Wilder's sake, because honestly, I think this is going to be the defining fight in Wilder's career that will really make him sit and think. If he loses to Fury again, if you're Wilder, you really have to look and think, is there a point to going on? Like, you really got to start contemplating retirement at that point, especially if you lose embarrassingly. Like, if Fury just goes out there and just dominates him, beats his ass up and down, just completely whoops his ass up and down the whole fight. And even if it goes the distance, if Fury is again, because fights can go the distance, but the entire fight, a fighter is just beating the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, it's one-sided.
Completely one-sided. You really have to think, if you're Wilder, nobody. Who am I gonna fight now? I'm not gonna be fighting for a belt. I'm fighting from the bottom up now, again. Like I was, midway through my career. He's not going to get the Joshua fight lined up. He's not going to get a fourth fight with Fury, especially if he gets his ass whooped.
I don't see how he can't get the Joshua fight. Joshua got his ass whooped. Like,
I mean, Joshua
too.
And that potentially ruined the upcoming fight that he was going to have with Fury.
That's what I'm saying. So he has a better chance of fighting Wilder. If Wilder gets maxed out, he got a better chance of fighting Joshua, because that gives both of them redemption. That redeems
a redemption fight to get back up to the title
for both of them. Because now it's like, bro, y'all might well fight each other. Y'all been bullshitting this fight for the longest time. Y'all might would fight each other.
They have, right? I was gonna say people have been
Well,
talking
really,
about
Joshua
Joshua
been
Wilder
running.
for a
Joshua
long.
been fucking running.
That
But
has
it's more
also
the
been
fact of, hey, bro, look, you can't do this American stand put. You might have to fucking, you know what I mean, take that flight if you, it might be possible, you know what I'm saying, my boy, because you've been out here getting maxed out. You don't got maxed out twice now, you know what I'm saying? It's time to go ahead. Like you don't even get a chance to talk. You can't talk to Buddy crazy no more. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say you like he first off, he don't even want to hear it. Him personally, he don't want to hear it. He just fucking writes that shit off and just say he just talked down to you. So that's already out the gate. So you gotta address that right now. For Southerner to Southerner, you gotta address that straight out the gate. He talked down to you crazy. You gotta come in that fight on some. I gotta beat his ass for talking down to me crazy. Now
he's talking about I want revenge and blood. I'm like, well, you can talk a good game all you want.
true, and you heard what the response was from fucking Buddy. He said, "Shit, I'm just gonna go whoop this prick ass." Like I'm like, yo, no, bro, you gotta bro. You doing all this extra shit.
All these
and what
further
you hyping it up because of Americans, they like that story. So I get why he doing it.
What further upsets me is Wilder still trying to say that Fury cheated in a couple or has cheated or does whatever in the fights that they had together, that they had with each other. I'm looking at it going like this. Give a fuck. Nobody believes you, first of all, that Fury cheated. Even Fury's up there on the stage. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, no. I completely put everything on my gloves, made sure that everything was fixed. But oh yeah, he's fucking with him. Nobody's taking Wilder's claims at all seriously when it comes to Fury cheating.
Like that second fight, the way he came out, the way he did that second fight, like, bro, that's what fucked you up. Your credibility got shot. That second fight, that big ass suit, which you knew was a mistake. You know what I'm saying?
But here's another thing.
But it's like
somebody asked him
everything.
Somebody asked him about the ring attire that he's going to be wearing to go in, like what he's going to be wearing. And he said, yeah, the one that we had last time was really awesome, really unique. We got something, we got something better coming in this next time. In my head, I'm going like, if you really think. Exactly. That shit better weigh no more than 10 pounds. No more than 10 pounds.
You better have some silk. If you're going to do some
I was just thinking that.
Styrofoam and some lightweight shit, my boy. You came out in the whole fucking Dark King fucking Game of Thrones ass shit and got your ass whooped, son. Like, don't do this. Don't do this.
I'm just saying, like, look, ever since the end of that fight,
look, bro. If you fuck around and become Adrian Broner, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Y'all go sit. You two motherfuckers gonna set us all the way to fuck back. Y'all gonna reset us to start on some bullshit. Like I'm trying to tell you, you gonna reset us to fucking start because you two motherfuckers want to put on a show instead of fucking putting on the real show. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's just
came here for.
All I'm saying is, like, with Wilder. Ever since the end of that fight, I just hear nothing but excuses. Nothing but, oh, the suit weighed too heavy, so it took my legs from it, or he cheated. He did nothing but excuse after excuse after
the
excuse.
The suit shit was more of a consensus. Like everyone said that shit.
The suit shit, I was looking at him going like, he's like, well, it took my legs. You shouldn't have worn a fucking 50-pound suit to begin with, idiot. Like, you shouldn't have done some shit like that. That's on you. I'm not going to feel sorry for you or feel like, oh, yeah, that was the reason. That may have been the main reason why you lost the fight.
It's only one LeBron James, bro. It's only one LeBron James. LeBron is the only person that can go do a whole workout and wear heavy-ass shoes during the game and go dunk that motherfucker like crazy and run up and down the court. It's only one LeBron, bro. It's only one freakish athlete that can go and do wild shit and then still perform. Like, how are you not fucking tired? It's only one. You cannot go out there and try to be that. You're not that. Like, that's it. Simple as fact. Stay within your dang on training, bro. That's all you gotta do. Stay within your training. Your trainer ain't got you out there training the goddamn heavy ass suit before you come box. You wear regular ass clothes. What's some light ass shit, man? If you're gonna do some shit, what's scarves?
I'm just saying this. If I'm gonna be paying $80 to watch this fucking fight, you better make it work. All I'm saying. Wilder's been talking a whole lot of shit, making a whole lot of excuses, putting all these fucking videos out that don't mean a goddamn thing. And Fury has been sitting there going, again, it's gonna be the same old story. I'm gonna knock this motherfucker out. He even said straight up, he's like, I could come in on 3 days' notice at 400 pounds and still knock this motherfucker out. I'm like,
No, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
I mean,
You
that
take
may
that,
be
you take that as a full sign of
crazy.
respect.
That may be crazy talk. But everything that Tyson Fury has ever said in his boxing career, he has always backed it up.
Shout out to
Even
him.
that one time where he came in super unhealthy, was having his the mental issues that he would talk about before, those depression times where he was feeling suicidal, all that stuff. Even when he came at that point, well overweight, super unhealthy, he was still winning fights. So when he said I could come in at 400 pounds, a dude that's 6'9", 6'10", at 400 pounds, I mean, okay, that's still, somebody he can be a lean on it. But if he tells me that he can still come in at 400 pounds, probably whoop his ass, well, I'm going to tend to believe the guy because everything that he has said up until this point, he has delivered on.
I feel like if he just go beat his ass, the only person that can stop him is me. I'm the only person that can stop Tyson Fury. I got to start boxing training today. Like, we the same size. I'm the only person that can stop him. He can't be stopped. I'm the only person that's right for the job. I suit all the qualities. I'm fast as a son bitch, athletic as fuck. I ain't boxed a day in my life, so I know I'm gonna lose in that department. So I'm just
give you. I think give you 2 years of good training. I think you can have a shot.
Yeah, we about the same age. Shit, about the same age. Shit. By that time, he'll probably be like, you know what I mean, taking them little Jake Paul type fights. Let me go out there. Let me go out there. Shit. Only person suitable for the job, look like. Goddamn. Shit.
So I'm the only one taller than him, and I'm faster. We could do this.
We about the same height. You know what I'm saying? We about the same height. So shit. I'm the
You're
only
actually
one.
taller.
I
You're
mean,
taller than he is.
Not much. That ain't really too much. You know what I'm saying?
By an inch.
That's why I said ain't.
You have a longer reach than he does, I think.
Yeah, I know I got a longer reach. That's what I'm saying. But he got way more years in that boxing game, boy. That boy a whole rabbit. That boy was fighting bears and shit. The whole gypsy. You know what I'm saying? Gypsy king. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
You're gonna have to kill that man to keep him down. You're gonna have to kill that man to keep him down. That's the type of fighter that he is. I respect the hell out of Tyson Fury. I really do.
I mean, the way boxing in America talk about this man, about Wilder shit, it feel like I could just go out there and fight him tomorrow. Shit. The way they dogging Wilder, the way they dogging Buddy, I'm like, shit, man, you got to go out there and do something, man. You got to go out there and do something.
I hope he does. I really do. Like I honestly, and I hope for Wilder's sake, because again, up until the fights and everything with Fury, every fight that he ever had, he knocked him out. He knocked the person. He was 40-0 with 40 knockouts. At one point, his boxing resume and his boxing career, unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen anything really like this in the heavyweight division since the Ali, Frazier, George Foreman, type the dudes that just put people's fucking lights out. Just for every fight, 100% of his fights up until the Fury fights, he was putting people out. And nobody had those knockout numbers. Nobody had those percentages or anything like he did. So is his career something for the record books? Is he going to make the Boxing Hall of Fame? Fuck yeah, absolutely he is. But I would hate to see somebody of his caliber lose due to the stubbornness of not wanting to actually become a complete fighter. You relied on your right hand a little too long, and the bully got bullied by the more complete fighter. So that's just, I would hate to see it again. Even if he loses, if he puts on a good fight and he shows improvement, he shows that he got better, then he'll have my respect, and then I'll be like, okay, whether it's Joshua, whether it's whoever it is that he comes up to fight next, it's going to be worth it because now I know Wilder actually is a more complete fighter now. It's going to be more dangerous to watch him fight because not only can he put you out with that right hand, now he can box. Ooh, it's like Happy Gilmore at the end of the movie where he goes, Happy learned how to putt. Uh-oh. It's just like that. Just that situation. He's got to come up to Fury and be like, Wilder learned how to box. Uh-oh. It needs to be some crazy shit like that for me to be going, Wilder can take a few more fights and be okay. But if he just gets embarrassed, he needs to start contemplating retirement. And I really do believe that he should retire if he gets embarrassed. Because no shit that you're going to be talking in the world anymore that's going to make anyone believe that, you are what you say you are. Because everything that you say, everyone believes Fury because everything that he has said, he has performed. People aren't really over there with Wilder because everything that he says, he hasn't been able to back it up these last 3 fights. So again, we'll see come this Saturday. I hope he does well. I hope both fighters come out of it okay. The fight game can be a cruel bitch sometimes to some fighters. So I hope they both come out of it okay. I hope everybody gets their $80 worth. Everybody on the undercard, hope they perform well to get their names up and out there because boxing, we cannot leave this in the hands of the Paul brothers. We got to get more excitement out of this. So guys on the undercard, take this opportunity to boost your name, get yourself up there, maybe into some title contentions, put people on their ass, put up a good fight, whatever it is. Wilder Fury 3 happens on Saturday. Week 5 of the NFL season is this Thursday, and then Sunday and Monday, of course. We will see you guys this Saturday during the fight. You want to watch along with us while we're going through it and talking a little NFL and boxing and stuff like that. Please join us on Saturday. Once again, Alan Bell, thank you again for joining us on the show. If you guys want to go and reach out to Alan, go get to him on Twitter and give him a follow. Really insightful, really knowledgeable dude, knows what he's talking about. He knows his shit. So if there's somebody that you're wanting to, if you're somebody in the world of sports betting, you like placing bets and stuff like that on sports, that's the guy. That's one of the guys that you want to go to. So go ahead, go follow him. His Twitter is, I believe it's Alan Bell 24/7. Alan Bell 24/7. Let me make sure. I don't want to butcher it and make.
So while JP's verifying, I will just ultimately say my take on the boxing thing, so it's clear. Either way, if Wilder loses and shows good boxing, or if he gets embarrassed, he has to take Joshua fight no matter what. If he wins, then dope shit, and he's able to go up to the next fighter, I guess.
Okay, I got Alan's. Yeah, it is at Alan Bell 24/7. ALLAN, not EN. AN Bell 24/7. Go give him a follow. And once again, thank Alan Bell for hanging out with us on the show for a little bit, talking about how he got into the world of sports betting and analytics and everything else like that. And a nice little MJD story on his way out. Gave us his best picks going into the week. Once again, hope that we can talk to him a little bit more down the line. So everybody thank him and give him a shout out, just like we're doing here. So once again, we will see you guys on Saturday for the fight and to talk more and make our pick'ems for Sunday. So for myself, JP, for Country K, this is the All-Pro JAFFO. Thanks you guys for hanging out with us. We'll see you on Saturday. Deuces.
Aloha.